everyone, welcome to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Jesus is coming. Every day we are looking at some of the signs that are happening around us.
And in this episode, we are going to see some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky, opening a rare window into the heavens. The cosmos display a breathtaking message now with unprecedented clarity. Do you see what it is showing us?
To my very great amazement, Saturn was seen to me to be not a single star, but three together, which almost touch each other. These are not my words. These words were written by Galileo Galilei in 1610, just months after the telescope had been invented. By pointing the new technology towards the night sky, astronomers such as he could suddenly see far more of the universe details than humankind had been able to for millennia.
But as by evidenced by Galileo's error, mistaking Saturn's rings for a pair of moons clinging to the planet's side, the window into the cosmos was still foggy. The problem was caused by something that is vital for life, but a hindrance for stargazers and for anyone striving for a detailed look at mankind's future of real joy. Earth's atmosphere provides needs for flora and fauna, oxygen-rich air to breathe, protection from ultraviolet solar radiation and from incoming objects, and retention of heat. It makes physically life possible. But light passing through the atmosphere bends, shifts and wiggles, clouding the view and twinkling the stars. Trapped on the earth within its unsteady and hazy atmosphere, astronomers were condemned to look at the heaven as though they had bad visions and were forbidden from using glasses, writes Robert Zimmerman in The Universe in a Mirror. Even as telescope technology improved from the 60s to the 90s, what could be seen and photographed remained fuzzy and revealed little detail. As early as the 1920s, astronomers saw how beneficial it would be to place a telescope in orbit, where it would float above the atmosphere, capturing clear images. But for decades, this was only a dream for the starry-eyed. Then in 1946, as rocket technology was taking off, American astronomer Lyman Spitzer penned an article detailing how it could be achieved. He wrote, "Such a telescope would uncover new phenomena not yet imagined and perhaps modify profound our basic concepts of space and time." Spitzer later said that though his article had negligible influence on the other scientists at that time, it left a crater-deep impact on his own mind. "My studies convinced me that a large space telescope would revolutionize astronomy and might well be launched in my lifetime." From the 1946 on, Spitzer devoted his breath and his intelligence to turning an idea on paper into a giant Earth-orbiting telescope. He blasted through expanses of data, puzzled out technical problems, and tried to convince others of the idea's merit. Spitzer told Zimmerman in 1977 that most astronomers didn't take it seriously. They thought it was a sort of wild-eyed or wide-eyed, one or the other. But Spitzer kept those eyes focused on the goal, and others began to see his vision. And in 1966, at the height of the space race, the National Academy of Sciences appointed him to lead a team to make it a reality. The appointment was a victory, but the project's greatest hurdles still lay ahead. The engineering challenge was enormous, astronomy skeptics and political skeptics abounded, and funding was repeatedly delayed. Not until Spitzer launched a lobbying mission did members of Congress approve funding in 1977, $36 million for a scaled-down version of the Large Scape telescope. Target launches in 1979, then 1983 slipped by. This year, the project was renamed after the men who had set the science world ablaze in the 1920s by proving that the universe is expanding in all directions. Edwin Hubble. From there, work on the Hubble Space Telescope shifted into high gear. Teams of technicians from Lockheed, Perkin-Elmer, the Wide Field or Planetary Camera Team, NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, and the Space Telescope Science Institute worked under the supervision of Marshall Space Flight Center. In 1986, technicians were piecing merit components together, and a launch by the end of the year seemed on target. Astronomers were over the moon, but on January 28th, NASA suffered one of the darkest tragedies in its history. The Space Shuttle Challenger disintegrated during launch, killing its crew of 7. All shuttles were grounded and Hubble was put in storage in California. It wasn't until 3 years later that Hubble was unpacked and shipped to the Kennedy Space Station in Florida. Finally, on April 24, 1990, nearly 45 years after Spitzer's article had made a case for a space telescope and started laboring on it, Discovery launched Hubble into space. The 43-foot-long telescope was released into low Earth orbit, about 353 miles above the surface and well above the atmosphere. It was 30 years ago this month. At last, after millennia of viewing the heavens through a haze, mankind was on the cusp of seeing it through a perfect prescription lens. That, at least, is what everybody expected. Scientists have captured a view of a colossal black hole violently ripping apart a doomed star, illustrating an extraordinary and chaotic cosmic event from beginning to end for the first time using NASA's Planet Hunting Telescope. The U.S. Space Agency's Orbiting Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, better known as TESS, revealed the detailed timeline of a star 375 million light-years away, wrapping and spiraling into the unrelenting gravitational pull of a supermassive black hole. The stars, roughly the same size as the Sun, was eventually sucked into oblivion in a rare cosmetic occurrence that astronomers call a tidal disruption event, they added. Astronomers use an international network of telescopes to detect the phenomena before turning to TESS, whose permanent viewing zones designed to hunt distant planets, causing the beginning of the violent event, proving effective its unique method of watching the cosmos. Such phenomena happened when a star ventures too close to a supermassive black hole, objects that reside at the center of the most large galaxies, including the Milky Way. The black hole's tremendous gravitational forces tears the stars to shreds, with some of its material tossed into space and the rest plunging into black hole, forming a disk of hot, bright gas as it is swallowed. Observing the oscillation of light as the black hole gobbles the stars and spews settlers material in an outward spiral could help astronomers understand the black hole's behavior, a scientific mystery since physicist Albert Einstein's work even more a century ago examined that gravity's influence on light is motion.
So far we saw some of the strange signs that are taking place in the sky. Don't go anywhere, we will meet you after a short break. Welcome back to Science Lab. The signs are happening because Jesus is coming. Before the break, we saw some of the strange signs that are happening in the sky. Now let's continue. NASA spends weeks tweaking Hubble systems, but the first pictures looked as if they had been snapped through London fog. Officials adjust every variable they could from Earth, but to no avail. Nothing we did made the image much better, said David Reckron, a scientist who joined the Hubble program in 1976. In an interview with Astronomy, the moon became very Morse, he said.
They soon diagnosed the element as a spherical aberration in the main mirror. The mirror's curve has been ground to within 10 nanometers of accuracy at all points, making it by far the most precise of any in optics history. But the device on Earth has been tested the mirrors and has been assembled incorrectly, causing distortion. In 1993, a team of astronauts flew up to the Hubble and spent 10 days replacing its wide-field and planetary camera with a new one fitted with modified small mirrors that offset the distortion of the main mirror. At last, a window into the heavens was clear. Just as Spitzer had theorized in 1946, Hubble was a game changer. Lecron said, "From that point on, every place we pointed Hubble in the sky, there was something new and remarkable." Hubble captured remote supernovas, which showed that the universe expansion is not slowing but accelerating. It shined light on the mysteries of dark energy and dark matter. It revealed the ubiquity of black holes, showing that most large galaxy centers around one. Its intense and prolonged gaze at deep fields showed us that even parts of the firmament that we thought were dark and empty are actually radiant with galaxies. It let us peer at the early eons of the cosmos, allowing astronomers to pin down the universe's age, and it offered unprecedented insight into exoplanets. In every 30 years since its launch, Hubble has taken hundreds of thousands of the most breathtaking photos ever captured. Stars being born, galaxies entering their adolescent years, supernovas dying, nebula of size incomprehensible, galaxies of hues uncategorizable, celestial bodies so far away our brains can't begin to fathom the distance. Zimmerman writes, Hubble and the men and the woman behind it opened a rare window into the universe, dazzling humanity with sights never seen before. When King David looked to the heavens, he saw them only with the naked eye. Yet he gaped breathlessly at God's creation and was particularly fascinated by mankind's place within it. In Psalm 8, verse 3-4, he wrote, "When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moons and the stars, which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him?" Later in the psalm, he wrote that the same God who created the radiant cosmos also made humans to have dominion over the creation of earth, over his creation on earth. 1,000 years later, the Apostle Paul quoted parts of David's psalm and brought additional meaning to it. God will not give mankind control just over the earth, but will put everything in subjection under him. This subjection of the universe to man implies the living nothing but subject to him. God created the entire vast universe for man. Everything Hubble has shown us, from the 4 moons it discovered around Pluto in our solar system to the most unfathomably remote galaxy, will be clear mankind's control. That's a foundational message declared in numerous scriptures. And Hubble's images could be seen as the companion's photo that could be printed alongside those verses. For those willing to believe what God says, that He has decreed the entire universe with all its galaxies, its countless suns and planets, everything will be put under man's subjection. Paul wrote in the letter to the Romans that the whole creation is now in bondage to decay and is groaning in anticipation of the redemption of mankind. The anticipation is urged because after redemption, humanity will reverse to decay. This passage indicates precisely what all astronomers and scientists evidence indicate. The suns are as balls of fire, giving out light and heat. But the planets, except for this Earth, are in a state of death, decay, and futility, but not forever. The entire universe is waiting for men to impart life to the billions and billions of dead planets. As life has been imparted to this Earth, God had a hand in the Hubble telescope. Its images should set our imaginations on fire because they are a major way that we get to know God and know about our own future. The window Hubble opened should fill a human being with real joy. It is astounding to meditate on the fact that Spitzer and the thousands who labored for decades to put Hubble into orbit weren't working alone, but were guided by a divine hand eager to fill people with real joy. This understanding can help us better appreciate the efforts of those that made this vision a reality, and the rare window we now have into mankind's out-of-this-world future.
Never before in the history of humankind we were discovering the depths of the universe, and we are able to understand the universe as a whole. Why there are strange things are appearing all over the world? The Lord Jesus Christ listed out all the signs that will happen before His coming, and one of them is there will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. The Lord Jesus Christ not only said fearful sights will appear, but great signs from the heaven.
And all this shows that what is mentioned in the Bible that are going to take place in the end times are taking place in our lifetime. We are living in the last days, and the Lord Jesus Christ is coming again very soon. Thank you for watching this episode, and don't forget to tune into the Science Lab next time.
Before we end the show, we would like to ask a question from this episode. Who is called the father of modern science? Option A, Isaac Newton. Option B, Nicholas Copernicus. Option C, Galileo Galilei.
And if you know the correct answer, send it to our email ID sciencelab@angeltv.org. If you have missed any of the episodes, don't worry, you can watch it again and again in our Science Lab YouTube page. But don't forget to like, share and comment on the video.
Ask your friends and relatives to watch this Science Lab so that they will know that we are living in the last days. Remember, the signs are happening because Lord Jesus is coming.
Maranatha.